today's conversation is an important one. I mean, the exits by multinationals from our economy. It's increasing by the day. Glovo is the most recent company to announce that they are on their way out. And they're all talking about, concerns with the ease of doing business. Before Glovo, we saw Jumia exiting. Not so long ago, Nivea announced that they were bowing out of the Ghanaian economy. Game left in 2022. Unilever used to make Lipton here in Ghana. Not anymore. They've moved to Nigeria. And if you remember Dark and Lovely, well, now it's only a distant memory because they've gone. So what does this mean? Apart from the obvious impact on the economy, what does this mean for local industry? Are they even able to fill in the gap? Will they be able to succeed where the multinationals failed? What's the reality of this, and how is it impacting our prospects for recovering from the slump that our economy has fallen into? Two people whose analysis and views will certainly help us answer these questions are Mark Badu-Aboagye, the CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He's here with us in the studio. Mark, what a pleasure to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning. Good morning to your listeners.
Indeed. And joining us over the phone is the Director of Dalex Finance, Ken Thompson. Ken, what a pleasure. Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're well.
I'm fantastic.
Yes. It's been a while since I saw you on your morning jog.
My morning walk, yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's get started. I want us to start macro and then zoom in on what it means for individual businesses. So if you don't mind, Uncle Ken, I'll start with you. So these companies are leaving. Now, depending on the size of the company and how many people they employed, we might be able to determine the impact it has on our economy. But looking wider, what impact does it have on our prospects as an investment destination?
So, you see, I know that I've read in the press the last few days that the announcement was incorrect. I don't know where that's coming from. But if I'm a betting man, I'll bet you 100 cedis that they were leaving. I'm sure the directors as SGSSB are frothing at the mouth, and somebody is probably going to get a sack. Because, bringing out all this negative, I use negative with small n, information about the Ghanaian economy at this time, you know what it does? It depresses their share price.
Right.
Yeah, it depresses the price. But why are companies leaving? For me, it's very simple. The government of Ghana doesn't care about the private sector. The government doesn't care about creating jobs. The government's not interested. It's only interested in governments and the people that benefit from the largest. The government of Ghana does not listen. I mean, every time we complain, we reel out projects that have been done. We build this block. We build this garden. We build this fountain. Who cares? I mean, we're in a situation where we're living day to day. We cannot plan. We don't know where we invest. Our hard-earned savings are gone. And, nobody's listening. The government does not care. All the government cares about is spending more and more money on itself. So, what's the consequence? Interest rates are high. You can't do business. The population is poor, so they can't spend. Infrastructure, critical infrastructure is weak. Water, electricity, roads is weak, and when you can find it, it's expensive. We talk about Ghanaian indigenous business taking over. I mean, I'm all for indigenous businesses growing because, the only companies that will develop this country, and it's all over the world, are indigenous businesses. But even if the indigenous business take over away, they'll face the same problems, and the small capital they have will be eroded. I mean, Ghanaian entrepreneurship is very, nascent. It's very new. The last 20, 25 years, 30 years, people started to really become entrepreneurial. They'll go back to square one. If you started business last year with 100,000 cedis, that 100,000 cedis now is worth probably 30,000 cedis. I mean, who does business like this? How can business thrive? The government is not interested. It's interested in spending more of our money. And when we complain, they talk about projects they've done. And it's all done with debt. I mean, really, who cares? Nobody's listening. You cannot plan. You don't know where to invest. We're living day to day. The legal system is the commercial litigation process is torturous. That's not the business environment in which any business can thrive. So it's got nothing to do with multinationals. I mean, the sad thing is that having multinationals as part of the economy, it's like when you have a CV and you say, I work for multimedia and I work for CNN. I mean, it gives you credibility and it attracts other people to use you. So who else is going to come and invest? And we need people to invest. Let's deal with the issues and stop going around in circles. That's the real issue. I mean, it makes me extremely angry. Nobody is listening. We are not interested in projects. We're not interested in the next hospital. I'm not interested in the next school. I'm interested in how I can plan. I have a framework that allows me to plan. I can't plan more than one day. What system is this? That's my take.
Thanks for that. And stay with us because there's a lot more I want to hear you on. Mark, I would have thought, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I would have thought that these exits would be good news for Ghanaian businesses. I mean, are you pleased that these gaps are opening up in our market?
I don't think it's a good news for us, as Ken rightly said. It's sending a signal that there is something fundamentally wrong with the business environment. And if you look at the reasons they cited, these are reasons that are affecting even domestic businesses. Now, if you take, for instance, Jumia and also the Glovo, in a situation as we find ourselves with a high operational cost, high interest rate and the rest, you realize that the companies that will fall quickly and earlier are those with the smallest margin. Because their business model depends on the ability of the Ghanaian to purchase a product, a food. So if Ghanaians are not buying, it means Glovo, it means Jumia will not be there to distribute. And of course, Ghanaians are not buying because sales have gone down. The purchasing power has gone down. There is no money in the pocket of ordinary Ghanaians. The businesses that are supposed to operate, make profit, and take care of their employees so they can also buy are also collapsing. So, generally, sending a signal, it looks as if we are, if you have not lost it, losing our position as a favorable investment destination in West Africa. Because for those companies to leave, it means that the local businesses are suffering. But those businesses usually do not have an option to leave. And most of them are dying day in, day out. 2, 3, 4 years ago, if you have observed, there were a number of the courier companies running around Accra, motorbikes with this box behind them. Check and see whether they are still there. They are all gone. I know one of them that was employing about 25 riders, 25, and 15 office operators. Now it's totally gone. Those people are home. The bike that they use at that time, the Boxer bike, was probably the most cheapest one they were using. It was 3,000, 4,000. Now it's 20,000 Ghana cedis.
Oh.
Yes, go and check. 20,000. And people are not buying, they are distributing. So you can't be in business under such circumstances. One of the key cost components of those companies is fuel. Check the price of fuel now. So their margin is very small. So if they are not able to make a lot to cover their operational costs, to cover their variable costs, there's no sense for them to stay in here. They have an option to leave, so they have left. In fact, the other companies that are working is because they have invested hugely on fixed assets. So it's not easy for a manufacturing company to get up and say, I'm taking machines, huge machines from here to maybe another country, but they are suffering. They are not producing as they are supposed to. They are underproducing. Given the opportunity, most of them will leave this country. Yeah. So for me, it's not surprising. It's worrying and disturbing. But those who have followed the trend, the economic trend, and what is happening within the business sector, I don't think anybody should be surprised.
It sounds to me like, even from the example you've given of the courier businesses that are falling, off the grid, it sounds to me like in many of these cases, the problem is not that there are no customers. We all need things delivered. The problem is the cost of doing business.
Definitely.
Wow. So it's not like these multinationals leaving is creating an opportunity for local businesses.
No. Because they are leaving because they cited certain reasons, and I have cited the same reasons that
they
are
all
affecting
apply to local businesses.
To local businesses, and the situation of local business is even worse. Some of these multinationals are able to get some tax relief. I haven't heard of any SME that's been given a tax relief. Look at our tax structure. It is not supporting local businesses. It's rather worsening the position of local businesses. And I think that we should all be concerned. It should not be a fight for a business association. It should not be a fight for a business person. It should be a fight for every Ghanaian. Because when the economy goes down, all of us will go down. Look at the number of people that Glovo and Jumia and all those people were employing. Ask yourself, where are they? Probably they are home, doing virtually nothing. Now you become a target because they know you are working. So they'll pick a call and say, Kojo, give me something because I have to eat. Those that would want to do other things, it will increase the crime that you have in this country. So we should be concerned about what is happening and find a lasting solution immediately. I think that if you don't do that, within the next 6 months, we are likely to see more of them leaving, and the consequences will be there for Ghana.
Right. Uncle Ken, when these companies leave, they don't go far. They go to our neighbors. They go to other African countries. Unilever has stopped making tea in Ghana. They've started doing it in Nigeria. Glovo is going to continue operating in Morocco and other North African countries. They are leaving to our neighbors, countries with which we used to compare favorably when it came to our economic performance. So what is the difference? What are they doing right that we are doing wrong? Do we have Uncle Ken on the line? I think we may have lost the connection to Uncle Ken. But look, the question remains the same, Mark. I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yes, the environment has become very competitive. If you take the AFTA, for instance, it has opened the market for everybody, everywhere within Africa. So every country is looking out for opportunity to improve the business environment. And I guess they listen to the concerns of businesses. We have said this over and over for the past years, that businesses are suffering. A number of proposals and letters have been written to key stakeholders, those that are supposed to make changes. They are not listening. In fact, if you go to Cote d'Ivoire, that, as you say, we are comparing favorably with them, you see a significant change in their business environment. Interest rate is not as high as we have in this country. Our policy rate, in spite of IMF coming, is still very high, 29%, which translates into a higher interest rate. I just read that looking at the exposure to inflation, the IMF is advising that the Monetary Policy Committee, the Bank of Ghana, should tighten policy rate. The likelihood that in their next sitting, policy rate will go up and interest rate will also go up is there. Now you are borrowing at 45%. Just imagine just your cost of borrowing. How do you expect the businesses to do well? If you take taxes, in fact, some countries are using taxes to support businesses, more specifically local businesses. We are using our taxes to kill businesses. We want to generate revenue, and in generating revenue, we are coming out with tax policies that are inimical to the development of businesses. import something, go to the port, and you pay close to 20 different taxes and levies.
Yeah.
So the goods are coming in here. You bought it, let's say $1,000. By the time it gets to the market, you are paying more than $2,000 for that particular product. Recently, when the doomsaw started, we all complained that this doomsaw is not good for the business environment, because almost every business in Ghana is using electricity.
Yeah.
So the least we can do in the midst of this, all these difficulties of IMF, is to ensure that we have adequate supply of electricity to these businesses. Now, businesses are underproducing because of this doomsaw. We were told it was a localized. It's as if by creating the right environment for businesses, they are doing businesses a favor. But it's a collaborative effort in developing our economy. The responsibility of government is not to do business. Government responsibility is to ensure that the right environment is created, and you empower the private sector to take advantage of this environment. We need to ask, what is the government doing? Is the government listening? In fact, the admission that when a certain government they are going to change tax structure and other things means that there's something wrong. They have admitted there's something wrong. But how long do we have to wait until the next election? I'm sure by the time the next election comes and somebody comes to power, a lot of businesses would have collapsed. So other countries are listening. In fact, the way we have opened up our economy and after, if you go to North Africa, the Moroccos and other things, their cost of operation is very low. They can come into our market and kill all the businesses that we have. So it's important that we listen to the concerns of businesses and put in place the necessary measures. I don't think it's too difficult for us to do that.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Mark Badu-Aboagye, CEO of Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Ken Thompson, Director of Dalex Finance. We lost Ken for a moment, but we're trying to reconnect with him. And we're talking about the exit of businesses from the Ghanaian economy and what it actually means and what we need to do to fix the problem. So, Mark, you say they are not listening. Who specifically have you been talking to? Which institutions and personalities in government has the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry been directly communicating with?
Almost all the relevant ministries. In fact, when they were introducing the 3 taxes, we wrote to His Excellency the President that these taxes that they are introducing is likely to kill businesses. So we asked for an opportunity to meet with him and discuss and offer suggestions on ways that we can go around this. So government will have the revenue and still the taxes will be okay for businesses. It's over a year now. Nobody has called us to listen to us. We have spoken to the Minister of Finance on some of these issues. Our ministry is Ministry of Trade.
Yeah.
And usually we run to them when we have challenges. We have spoken to them. There have been an assurances, but I don't think that is enough. They should take the necessary steps. In fact, when we started this IMF program at the beginning of the year, we realized things were improving. Inflation came down significantly, and we have some stability within the foreign exchange market. Within these 3 months, check what is happening. Inflation is going up. I mean, it came up just like the last count yesterday, but I'm sure that in the month of May, June, July, inflation will go up. Fuel prices have gone up. The cedi has depreciated. Inflation will go up. Even at the current level of 25%, inflation is extremely high. The Bank of Ghana target is a single digit of 8 plus or minus 2, maximum of 10. We are doing 25, so we have exceeded it by now by 15%. And we know the effect of inflation on businesses, on consumers, and how it impacts on the economy. Exchange rate from the beginning of the year to now, it has depreciated close to 15%. That is on the official, but if you go to the forex market, it's extremely high. It means that invariably you have lost 15% of your local currency. And one of the reasons why these foreign businesses will not stay long is that they invest in dollars because they are not Ghanaian owned businesses. So after they've made their profit and revenue,
Go
the
and buy
owners
dollars.
are outside the country. So they have to convert the CD, because their revenues are in CD, convert them into dollars. Now it means you need more of the CDs to be able to get a dollar to be able to send to your country. You are also not getting the revenue. The cost of operation is also going up. So it will not make economic sense for any business to say that my operational, the revenue I'm getting is not able to cover for my operational cost. In fact, when you are able to cover your variable cost, that is where you have an excess to pay for your fixed cost. But you are not able to cover your variable cost. So you don't even have an excess to pay for your fixed cost. And for those services industries, most of the time their fixed cost is very small. They can just pick their bag and go. So most of the those in the service sector will leave. So all the stakeholders that are supposed to listen and do something about the current hostile economic and business environment, we have reached out to them. Day in, day out, through our advocacy, the chamber, we have spoken about these things on your platform and other platform. And I'm sure that they have all heard our voice. And I was expecting that at least they will call to say that we have heard you and this is what we are doing immediately to be able to reverse the current situation. But it's always silent and expecting that under these circumstances, businesses will do well. It wouldn't happen. Create the right environment, sit down and look at what the businesses in Ghana will do. In fact, we did a bit of research to look at how competitive a typical SME in Ghana will be given the necessary environment. And you'll be surprised. Most of them were extremely competitive. The challenge is the environment. The challenge is the high interest rate. The challenge is the taxes that we have, high utility charges. That is the challenge that they have. So I think that the men are there. The private sector is ready to work to improve the environment, to improve the economic environment that we have.
All right. Thanks for that. We're joined by Dr. Daniel McKorley, he's CEO of McDan Group of Companies. Dr. McKorley, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks for making the time. So, I mean, look, local businesses are really struggling. I mean, if even the multinationals can't stand the heat in the kitchen, how can local businesses have any hope of surviving in these circumstances?
Thank you for calling me into this show. If you remember, a year ago, I was on your station, and I predicted that businesses are going to go away, businesses are going to collapse. I did that prediction on this same morning show a year ago.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better if we don't take a drastic and dramatic return. I'm an entrepreneur, and to scan the environment, we are more concerned today because the foreigners are leaving. It's an alarm. But how many businesses, local businesses, are collapsing every day? If you look at our economy in Ghana, we have a very small economy. Our economy is small, and we are being turned gradually over the years as a dumping ground. And we are becoming more and more and more of a consuming nation. We are not producing anything. We are not exporting anything. We go out there, we call for direct foreign investment, and now they are coming and leaving. Something is fundamentally wrong. How do we manage our macroeconomic indicators? How can we also help the micro? These are things we have to look at. We don't have big businesses, indigenous big businesses that will rake in foreign exchange. Everything we do, we consume here is imported. Even when it comes to food, we are not we can't sustain our food industry. Go to the market, These are little things that build economies. Those who are fighting wars across Ghana, their JSS students are building drones. They have food. Their great industry can live for the next 2-3 years if they close the whole country. So, being in an economy like this, a small economy like this, where you can't even get a bank. Let's say Societe Generale is living. Who are the big businesses here that they will support financially? How many businesses can pay 45% interest on loan? Meanwhile, the capitalization of the whole bank is less than $100 million.
Yeah.
How can the bank support businesses? So who is looking at the economy? Mention one big boy in Ghana, a big business in Ghana. We don't have it. We are all struggling. We will continue to complain if we don't make deliberate effort to build 5 strong businesses. Just 5. Well, an entrepreneur is employing to go to his business. He had employed about 100,000 people, 50,000 people, 200,000 people. That's what we have to be looking at. And there must be a deliberate effort. We're talking about security issues. You get out there, there are so much unemployment, and these affect businesses. So if you ask me, we need to look at some of this practically. The taxes are not helping businesses, but it's not only the taxes. So the government should make policies. The government policies to be able to work for businesses while we, the entrepreneur, build the nation. How do we build a nation? It is our job to build a nation. Help us with where we are now. It's a bit frustrating when I'm talking about some of these things because I'm living it every day. What policies in terms of taxation? It goes one way, it comes another way. They take with one left hand, they give with another right hand. But the question we have to ask ourselves, we are having a very small economy. No big business can survive here. One last thing. We have to start producing to export. We have to make deliberate effort to produce to export. We have to take advantage of the continental free trade. If we don't take advantage of the continental free trade, other countries will take that advantage and will be a dumping ground. They'll produce and ship to us. So we have to go down. Those working on the policy papers should start to talk to indigenous businessmen, entrepreneurs, to understand what is going on the ground. Right on the price of 10K or 5 cedis is reducing. Before I take 1 KK, now I'm taking 2 KK. Go to the market. 4 pieces of garden eggs is 10 Ghana.
Wow.
These are the real issues. 4 pieces of garden eggs is 10 Ghana.
So what exactly is the government doing wrong?
I think we have a small economy. I can say, see, we have to look at the taxes. The government have to look at our great industry, anything that directly affect the citizens, the indigents, direct. Look, I heard my colleague talking about the doom store. When we have government cannot control it, the fundamentals was very wrong. Ghana is powered on generators. How long can we continue powering Ghana on generators? It won't work. And we cannot play politics with it. We should stop the politics and look at the real issue and go to the ground and deal with the issues. You are powering Ghana with crude oil. And the crude oil you are using dollars to buy. And as of yesterday, the dollar was 12.7 to the cedi, to the dollar. How do you use this amount to buy crude oil every day to power your electricity? Till we move away, till we have a consensual, take a consensual decision and look at building the nation and stop playing politics with some of these things, we will see better tomorrow. If not, business will continue collapsing, as I predicted last year.
Yeah.
It's going to go worse. It won't get any better.
Mark, let me bring you in. Dr. McKorley mentioned that we need to start producing things for export. I mean, as a country, that is how we demonstrate our value to the world. What is the world buying from us? Now, let me ask this. When government officials are traveling to these other countries for all kinds of meetings and summits and conferences, do they go along with any of your members so that you can go and explore foreign markets and meet potential customers and so forth and see about how you can also sell to the world?
Well, there have been instances where we've been part of the delegation to some of these countries. But as a chamber, one of our key responsibilities is also to organize our members to go and look for investment outside and also invite investors into the country. But it's something that we have been doing. In fact, the government side of it, that responsibility lies with GIPC. But we collaborate with them. We've been to a number of such programs with them. But it goes beyond that. Beyond having a stable political environment, which for me is the positive we have now, any investor coming into your country is not a Father Christmas. He's not coming to Ghana because you are Ghana. He's coming because he wants to make money, create value for the investors, those who have the shareholders. So they will come when the environment is okay. They will come when the taxes will support them, when they can get loans at a lower interest rate. There is constant supply of consistency of electricity and all those things. So they look at these things. So you can go and talk and talk and talk. Now, all the issues that we are facing now, it's no secret to any serious investor out there. We just on the Google can know whatever is happening in Ghana. So if you want to take a decision to invest in Ghana, it is some of these key variables that you have to look at. They look at it and compare to other countries and say that if I should come to Ghana, I'm going to borrow at 45%. I'm not going to get electricity. I have to buy my own generator and buy fuel at a higher rate. If I'm coming to Ghana, the cost of water is at this level as compared to country B. And then they look out for inflation. Whatever I'm going to do, would I get people to buy the product or the services? Do they have money? What is the level of their purchasing power? So if I have a high inflation rate, obviously, it means the purchasing power in that country is low. So they will look at all this and take a decision and say that I'm going to Ghana. I think Ghana is good that we have this political. One of the days where they look at only the political stability, but the economic environment is also very. In fact, there are countries that are not stable, but they may have an environment that may support business. People will go and invest there, knowing that they have to protect their investment. So within 5 years, especially in the mining industry and all, within 5 years, they invest, take their money, and go. So we need these two key things to be able to convince people. Now we get people coming and you tell them these things and they are surprised how businesses are surviving in this country. Such an investor will not come. If I'm coming with $1 million and I want my dollars back and I need in excess of 5 times the money, the cedi I need to buy, I won't come because obviously I will make that revenue to be able to convert into dollars and then go and pay my shareholders. So we need to look at this. Now we have said it over and over that it is not good. What do we do immediately to be able to resolve this? We have to add value. We have said it over and over again. But we are also exporting a lot. Because if you look at our trade balance on the balance of payment account, for the past 3 years, we have had positive trade balance, which means that we have exported more than we have imported. But the challenge is that the dollar, the hard cash, is not coming. It's the responsibility of the central bank. Look at the balance of payment account. The difficulty is the fact that a lot of investors are taking their money away. The short term, because of the challenge, the high inflation, because of the depreciation. So if I feel that I invest in America and I have a stable currency and my money will be safe, I will, even though I may lose immediately if I'm converting the cedi into dollar, it is important that I cut down my cost, take my money and go. It's the main reason why in the short run the cedi is depreciating immediately. Right. If you're able to resolve that and build the confidence that you have a strong economy, that we are protecting your currency, I think people will not take their money, and that will have the negative impact on the cedi. So as for going out, we do that. Just last month, we organized about 20 business people in Ghana to Spain to go and look for investment. They had good discussions. But when I was told that people were asking this question that we are also asking, what is happening in Ghana? Yeah. Why this high interest rate? Yeah. So we are doing what we have to do. The government will also have to do its part to ensure that we moved Ghana forward.
Dr. McKorley, you made an important call. You said that the government should be deliberate about creating big businesses, at least 5 big businesses to employ thousands and thousands of Ghanaians. Now, we are currently in an IMF program. This government can't even pay its bills. You know, it's dipping its hands into people's investments just to keep government running. Are they really in a position to do what they have to build 5 big businesses? Can they do it?
You know, when the government had to build business, it's not the government to give an entrepreneur money. The right businessmen don't go to government, give me money, let me build a business. No. There are a lot of businesses out there that need support. If you look at some of the business going wrong, they need attention. Just attention. We, the businessmen, have all the solutions for government. We need the right policies to govern and support our business. We need the right security to help us support our business. We need the right interest rate, as the the chamber president is talking about. Somebody is in the manufacturing industry. You can look at the business model and say, pick a loan from a commercial bank or go to Eddie. There's so much money out there to support businesses, not for free. A lot of policies can be urged to support certain businesses. And again, I don't subscribe to the fact that a foreigner could come to Ghana and take loan from a Ghanaian bank. I don't subscribe to that. While the Ghanaians are struggling, when a foreigner is coming here to invest, he should come here with money. While the local bank supports the indigenous business. I run through a lot of businesses in this country. I'm supporting a lot of people to build businesses, but I can see the cry. So, government can have, when they talk about deliberate business, as if government be able to identify the various businesses. There are a lot of opportunities in this country. I can tell you for a fact, there's no better place to do business like Ghana. If the government will drop down and look at the businesses and see how to build it. Look, it is our job to support any business to make the economy better. Entrepreneurs, we don't sleep. We find solutions. So any entrepreneur that will work with empty hands to government and say, give me money to build my business, that is not the right way to go about it. The politicians should get closer to businesses. When I say this, I always have a problem. The politicians are sitting too far. There must be a deck that should put intelligent decks to see what businesses are thriving. Well, at the end of the day, we have to pay our taxes to help the country grow. So if government come closer to help, the country will grow by the businessmen.
Yeah.
You go to places like that. We are living in Ghana. We don't control, no Ghanaian business control any sector. If you go to the banking, I've been saying this every day and I'll continue saying it. If you go to the banking industry, it's controlled by Nigerians and South Africans. The telecom industry is controlled by British and South Africans. The mining industry is controlled by South Africans and
Australians.
The Australians and Canadians. Even trade, ordinary trade, supermarket, is controlled by Indians and Lebanese. What is wrong? Why can't indigenous control something? Maybe the only industry is being controlled by indigenous in this country, by God's grace and the God factor, is the salt industry. That's the only industry that is controlled here by an indigenous. What do we do for us to take the mandate up? Government can play a big role. It's not difficult. We have the solution. We have the solution.
Yeah. I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Daniel McKorley, CEO of McDan Group of Companies, to Mr. Mark Badu-Aboagye, CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and earlier we heard from Ken Thompson, Director of Dalex Finance. We thank you all for your very insightful contributions to this important conversation. God bless you all.